Welcome, we are back with another episode of Zero to Hero, Tank Edition. In this episode, we'll be getting every key to a 10, but before we kick that off, we're going to talk about which character we're playing next. There's been a mixture of Prop Warrior, Brewmaster, and Bear. Prop Warrior is kind of busted right now, and it seems Brewmaster is also in a good spot, so I think it's best that we try something that's not doing so hot right now. I've also never played Druid before, so this will be something new for the both of us. Also, with the next episode, I'm trying something new. I'm going to try and talk and play at the same time. I'm not used to doing this, but I think it's good to walk you through my thought process as I go through a dungeon. Alright, enough of the yapping, let's get down to business. I want to talk about routes a little bit, especially timings for CDs and Bloodlust. The first pull in every dungeon is normally big, and because everyone has cooldowns, it's a good idea to pull massive and send that Bloodlust. There's certain dungeons where it's good to save Lust for the first boss, but usually you want to send Bloodlust on cooldown. That way you can get multiple uses out of it. I know in the first area there's only going to be 2 pulls before the first boss. The first boss has no insane tank busters, so I'm happy to use all my cooldowns on each pack. When gathering the next pack, I take it a bit slow this time. This group are pumpers, and I don't have any sigils to gather them quickly and still be confident with my threat. So I take my time to make sure I can hold the threat, and then I'll grab one of the big boys and mark them with a skull. This lets the team know that I want them to focus this mob down. There is an AoE ability that the healer needs to worry about, but apart from that, the only damage that's going out is mostly on the tank. And with the amount of leech and frailty I have on each mob, the chances of me dying is low. The first boss isn't so bad for the tank, but there are ways to make it easier for the group. As long as everyone stacks for the adds, you can easily deal with that mechanic. Just make sure to kill them fast, because there is a pool that gets put on players. If you do get a pool on you, just walk away from your group. After a few rounds of the adds, there will be a suck phase. I always take the other set of adds. This is because I can delay the adds as VDH. Using both Chains and Chaos Nova, I can slow down the suckage, making it so my group can kill the other set of adds and then make their way over to clean up my adds. After you've done that, just step back up and repeat the same steps, and bam! That's the first boss down. Going into the next area, I know my group have cooldowns. I'm feeling nice, so I decide to go big. When gathering, I always make sure to taunt the priority target. Having the most threat on the priority target makes it so you don't lose aggro while gathering all the other mobs. There isn't any scary abilities in this pack, just make sure to face them away from the group, because there is a frontal. Once it's all grouped up, it's just about using your CC abilities and occasionally kicking. One of the main reasons why I love VDH so much is because all your offensive buttons are also your defensive buttons. So all I gotta do is pump my heart out. Grouping mobs can get a little bit sketchy. Forgetting to taunt a target can cause a lot of problems, like this. Luckily my Warlock was a gamer and managed to live, but that could have been deadly, all because of one mistake. Thankfully, I was able to recover and quickly group up the pack on a spellcaster. They're normally the ones that cause a lot of problems, so stacking up on them is usually the easiest way to group up a pack. The second boss is again not too scary for the tank. There is one ability you want to pop a defensive on, but the main thing is executing the mechanics. Javelins should be stacked in a Venn diagram shape, then drag the boss in the middle so everyone can cleave the boss and the javelins. During the arcane overload phase, the boss becomes immune, so you want to shoot 6 beams at him as fast as possible, so you can get back to whacking. Just try and not hit your teammates with your beam, but if they run into it, that's on them. The final area is where I get most of my count. There's usually at least one deadly mob in each pack, but the rest are just free count. The main focus in this pack is the pack speaker. Healers be worried about Erratic Ritual. This is big damage. He also spawns an orb a bit later on that he sucks up, and it gives him a fat shield, so make sure to swap to that when it comes up. Remember in the last episode when I said I didn't know how to group up this pack? Well, this time I utilized line of sight. In pug groups, this is huge. Just make sure to ping where you're going and where you want your group to go, and there's like a 50% chance your team will listen. If they don't, just let them die. If they can't listen to basic pings, they don't deserve to deal damage. The next pull is kinda spicy, so make sure to take the buff just to make this a little bit easier. There's a bunch of dashy boys on this one, so stay kinda close and use as much CC as possible. The fast stalkers also have a must interrupt cast. If it goes off, it will deal big damage to 3 teammates, so make sure to stop them. The 2 packs before the final boss you do not want to pull together. One Erratic Ritual is bad enough, so 2 of them is just instant death. If you do pull them though, just make sure to desync them, so your healer can actually do his job. The final boss again is light work. Just get your damn clone, people. We easily 2-chested this dungeon, and as usual, we got no loot. I wanted to get all the easy dungeons out the way, so let's run back an Arakara. I know you all love this first pull, so let's run it back one last time. One problem you need to deal with when tanking is people pulling for you. Half the time this can get someone killed. I was waiting on my CDs so I knew I would have threat, but because my group pulled early it caused a bit of an issue. But we managed to recover and there was no serious casualties. I also said in the last episode I wouldn't panic and play it safe when doing this pull, but that all went out the window. Because I was worried about the interrupt and the shaky threat, I didn't realise I got rooted, so one thing led to another and bam, I'm dead. The annoying bit was getting the threat back afterwards, but despite dying, we still easily two-chested this key. There wasn't much to talk about, but you've seen this dungeon 100 times now, so let's just move on to the next one. Gambit is also one of the easier dungeons this season. The second boss is annoying to deal with, but the timer is very generous. I've also already gone through all the mechanics, so I don't want to sound like a broken record. There is some big pulls at the start of this dungeon, so your goal is to keep them all grouped up and use your CC as much as possible. Oh, and don't die. There are some deadly packs such as this one that can be a real tank killer, so just be ready to kite if you start taking too much damage. This again was another easy two-chested dungeon. Dawnbreaker is next on the list. If you look at this route, there's not that many pulls, and each one is easily manageable. I think the only scary part on this dungeon is the first boss. I healed this during the creator challenge, and it was by far the hardest thing to heal in this dungeon. People always talk about the second boss, but that is a scripted boss. This one is a little bit shaky with the mechanics. They always seem to be out of sync, so when you get dispelled and mix that in with the beams, it can be a real pain to keep everyone alive. For VDH, it's not too bad. The dispel I can usually heal myself, and the tank buster can be dealt with by using any of my many defensives. The fountain area though is pretty tough to manage. There's a lot of casters, so it can be hard if you don't have a balanced druid or a VDH to silence them all. Also, having a ritualist in there just to humble everyone makes this pull kinda scary. The next pull isn't as bad, but just be careful of the frontal, otherwise you'll end up like this guy. I don't know if my MDI was out of date, but I had to pull a few more mobs after this second boss. You want to be around 94% before flying up. That way, once you clear that last pack, you'll be at full percent. One thing I'd always recommend doing on this boss is using a defensive like AMZ or Darkness during the acid spray. It always lines up with the bombs, so waiting before doing that will always be the safest bet. But on this key level, it really doesn't matter. This was yet again another easy two-chest. It just goes to show having a quick and easy route for the group can make a dungeon go smooth. Priory is still one of the rougher dungeons this season. You can really feel the difference depending on the group. I decided not to go insane with this pull, one reason being I didn't have all my defenses ready, and I wasn't fully confident in my team's damage. We still had plenty of time, so taking it slow here wasn't a big deal. I did want to slow it down a bit more on the next pull, but my teammates had other plans. Luckily, I had a sigil to gain threat, but the lack of mana on my druid had my cheeks clenched. You'd think this dungeon being out for the last 7 months, people would know how to play it by now. But no, my teammate still soaking before the shield was really stressing me out, and I gotta give it to him, he was getting away with it, but eventually it caught up to him. I kept all my pulls rather small in the last area of the dungeon. I knew we would time it if I played it safe, and going slow and steady is always the best option if you're not confident in your group. And even though we didn't two-chest the key, we still timed it with 5 minutes to spare. Halls of Atonement is another rough dungeon this season. Every pull I did went sideways. This mostly just came down to bad positioning and using my CC abilities at the wrong time. Stuff that can easily be fixed in future dungeons. I was even baiting my teammates with pings during the first boss. I wanted them to move to my ping, but instead it looked like I said I was moving over there, so when I went to stack the pool, I took out 2 of my teammates instead. I might have caught some flame in the chat, but in the end it meant nothing. Hell, I was making mistakes after mistakes in this dungeon. One chill pull turned into mayhem in a matter of seconds. This again could have all been prevented if I just used my CC at the right time. I even caught some more flame after this pull because my hunter couldn't wait 2 extra seconds. I just laughed at him and carried on with my life. This dungeon really wasn't my finest moment, it was just full of mistakes. Accidentally using my silencer made it so the next set of ads were impossible to group up. But despite all these mistakes, we were still able to two-chest this key, and it just goes to show, even if you suck at this game, your healer can still bail you out. Because this was a new week, this also meant we had a chance to do streets on hard mode. I even motivated my team by saying whoever dies first is a loser, but instead my mage decided to take this as a personal challenge. This dungeon was really easy. All the packs were fine, we got the odd death here and there, but the bosses just felt like mini elites. The only big mess up we did was at the end when trying to skip the mini elite. I again thought I was cooking on the final boss, but turns out after a while my brain just couldn't keep up with all the shapes, so I eventually led my teammates to their own demise. With that key out the way, we officially got Keystone Hero. I know, it's just that easy. The final key is going to be Floodgate, but we're going to save that for next episode. If you like the content, subscribe. If you made it this far, we already know you like the content, so subscribe anyway. Like, comment, all of that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.